Okay, hello everybody. We will have our second presentation of the beta room here. The presentation will be behind the screens, the state and direction of Plone Community IT, and the talk will be hosted by Fred van Dijk. Can we have applause for Fred?
So, yeah, I think I'll do this without, the mic should pick that up. So, this is the talk I did not want to give, actually. Good to see a lot of friends here, a lot of people. I think I almost know almost everybody here. I will skip the introductions then, but I'm the team lead of the admin team, long-time Plone active member, started using Plone in the early 2000s already as an end user, and have been chugging along with, I think, most of you here on this wonderful travel. So, the current state of Plone. We have keynotes, Timo gave the direction, we have a good software development plan. Most of the active stuff is happening on the front end nowadays. We have really happy users, but we have some other situations. And the situation was a bit like this. Quite a few of you have probably also passed down this elevator this week. Because it's maybe it's one of the we have a large, really old one in Rotterdam, but this is I think one of the most modern new ones at Helsinki Airport, and you have another one which is 2/3. If you pass this one, there's another 2/3 down, and then you're really down. And I think this is a good metaphor where we're traveling and where we are. And yeah, down is easy, but I would not want to walk up this elevator again. So. The current state of our IT in general, except for that we are loving software development and we're very good at developing a CMS, the surrounding IT and the surrounding community planning and things in general are very troubling and daunting. I think we all know that. If you wonder where this was actually in Koblenz where we had the Plone Conference. So this is what I meant with I didn't want to give this talk, but we should press the thumb on the sore spots and those things. So this is definitely not a blame game. We all know what we are, but I think I mentioned it to a few people. I had a short talk with Martin, about like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Like we should focus this conference, I think, on resources and people planning, because that's the first priority. I mean, we have wonderful plans of developing the CMS and continuing. And I think where we will see the pain mostly. Well, we have seen the pain mostly in a lack of resources and people planning, because in the end, it's one of our greatest strengths. We're a real volunteer organization. We're a real open source community. Nobody is guiding or pushing people around. But again, that's also our weakness in this part. And we've seen the problems for years already on the communications and marketing part. And we're also seeing this problem now at one of the backing teams, which is the admin team. So I think whatever we are going to discuss this conference, keep positive, but we should also address some real issues here. And I want to show you the admin team situation and our community IT situation as an example of that, where I think, okay, we're not very far away from having a really big issue in general. So admin team was formerly known as the AI team. AI got a bit of a problematic new meaning. So I decided that we should just call ourselves admin team, sysadmin team. I'm not white enough or red. That sounds really like people in their 70s. So admin team is maybe modern. So we have 4 senior long-time Plonistas being active. I got into this game in 2019, where somebody asked me, would you like to cat herd the admin team? I was like, yeah, I've got cats all the time, I'll do that. So what they didn't tell me was that the other 3 or 4 or 5 people were almost all former board members. So basically, I started there doing the cat herding. We have 4 senior long-term policies now active as all-round admins. We have the 2 release managers on board. Does help that they're also my colleagues, former colleagues and good friends. So that's also Good. And I managed to talk David and Jill into also being admin team for the whole CI/CD part, because basically you have to have access to anything anyway. So 3 former board members and 4 all overburdened with work. We've had 1 + 2 almost near burnouts this year with those 4 people. So we're coping between work, volunteering, and some private life. What we planned for this year, as usual, as we all do at this conference, nice plans, all kinds of things. And what we were able to accomplish was mainly putting out fires with the people left.
And crying.
Yeah, and crying, well, not enough water.
Yes.
So, where do we go? Where do we go? Where are we? How do we get down again? Actually, this is the new migration. This is an art installation on top of the new migration art museum in Rotterdam. And it's really funny to walk 3, 4, 5 stories there. You really get a feeling of migration. I think this is actually quite a nice metaphor. Look it up. So, to continue this, I want to wrap this up in hopefully 20 minutes, and then at least have 15 minutes or 20 minutes to have a kind of small open space and discuss amongst us how we're going to further talk about this during this conference. So very quickly, because I'm an analytical guy, let's do the last things first. Like I said, we're a volunteer organization. We have no benevolent dictator company. We have no big company that shoves a few million they earn from big customers, which they can write documentation and pay people to go all over around the world and do marketing. We need to organize this ourselves. Like I said, it's our biggest strength and it's our biggest weakness. Decreased volunteering challenges are known. I had these in 1995 when I became an active member of my student association. This is a sign of all times, where we also were discussing student activism besides their studies. I know there were some people here from universities. They can also know, but many people have studied this. This has been going on for 30, 40, 50 years already. But it started so way before COVID, but of course COVID accelerated it the last few years. It's probably a generational thing. Who's here below 30 in this room? Well, good. That's more people. Yeah. So whatever you, so yeah. So yeah, this is a generational thing maybe. I'm jealous of people who can do the YOLO thing and let go of things after 2 or 3 or 4 years and move on to something else completely and do that for the rest of their life and still be happy. I think the rest of the room here who doesn't have to raise hands, we're different. We have like 2 or 3 generations here, and every generation goes into the next. And I don't envy young people. Let's put it this way. So what I would love to do, what I saw this morning, if I'm an sysadmin team lead, is that we'll just do this. I mean, we're the university, and we'll set up 3 divisions. So we'll have development services, we have IT infrastructure services, and we have customer support, and we organize our teams around that, and we'll just get hopefully enough government funding or university funding, and we'll be able to do all that. Got bad news for you. If you look around the world for the last few years, all our customers that we help, also non-profit, are also greatly suffering with budget cuts, and so this would be the ideal situation, but even we know that real companies also will have this problem, and we have it in small. So we're a volunteer organization. So analytics first, root causes. I think we know we have been very popular the first 10 years, reasonably popular in the next 10 years, and now we're in our 20 to 25 years as a community. And we failed to scale down, I think, in time for our IT landscape and usage. We still have nice plans, but in reality, with the people and resources that we currently have, we have a challenge. Community-wise, we don't have really clean role descriptions in our teams as well. And because we're a volunteer organization, like I said, I talked about this 30 years ago at my study association. You don't dare to ask your students that do come in your study association room and say, look, if you want to volunteer, that's nice, but we expect you at least to put 4 hours a week in this study association, and otherwise, there's the door. You can't. people come in voluntarily. So, and this is life. And of course, the trend is more communication channels, more platforms to join, more ways to promote yourself, and hope that you bring in more people. This is just company IT stuff. People bring in their own devices. People bring in their own applications. Say, I only want to work with this scheduling application. I only want to work with this email client. So this is all from old times. So now I had planned to go through all the applications that we use, and the backgrounds, and the issues, and the overhead, and the challenges. Somebody mentioned to me yesterday, thank you, but that's not very productive or motivating. So, even we say in Dutch, boeien. So, but then, okay, but let me stress this again. We have a real big continuity and security issue going on here. So maybe I should give an overview, even if it's condensed, a little bit, that you have in a few minutes. What as a community, what we're all using, and what we have to keep up running, what we have to keep running and stable and secure in the long term. What's this? It's lying in the center of Iveskele. So, what are we using? IT landscape. Sometimes there's just silly pictures, sometimes I really mean something with them. I categorize them into 5 areas where we use a lot of software services and whatever. The main thing is the main support. We support the main development process. GitHub, the CI/CD. We still have our first, and mainly for the back end, Jenkins setup with the main system and runners. We host this plone.org for where our packages are as an extra source next to PyPy. So that's one way. Then we have main communication documentation. These are our essential things for supporting Plone. Plone.org mainly, the doc site, the training site. And then we have Conftagum, event sites, 1 or 2 country sites, and we have our Matomo to do the analysis. So this is, if everything else drops, this is what we should keep focusing on. Agree? I mean, this is what we do. Our community delivers an open source CMS, so we need to build a CMS and we need to provide the documentation and some guidance on that. So that's there. And we're still quite capable of doing this, although here already we have some issues we'll talk about later. And then everything else here becomes, from an IT manager's point of view, becomes a kind of a mess. Where you would love to have standardization, where you would love to have only a few, and where also security and other things come in. Our basic office automation.
There's one thing missing, probably in support main. It's the signing, the contributor agreement signing.
Ah, yeah, sorry, it's somewhere. It's somewhere down there later, but yeah, indeed. Sorry, we also So here there's another small service here, which is the PDF signing service that we have now for the contributor agreement. Correct. So this is mainly the community office automation, like documents, where do we store things, chatting with each other, internal communications. Then we have the broader outside communication, which is community.plone.org, where you could easily discuss if it should not be here, because it's actually one of our main communication things. But looking at the time we spend on it, that's the thing. And then we have, in the end, we have like marketing, PR, promotion things, and here you have this is just what a popularity contest. Of all those things, what do we self-host? So we have a number of virtual machines there. We use some really hardcore. So this is from the Iveskele presentation at the start of the conference, the infrastructure part. The VMs, we use OS, apps, and containers to host most of those things, the things we self-host. We focused since 2022 with Plone 6 on container management, eat your own dog food. So we have a few dedicated virtual machines that we try to containerize. And then we have a number of supporting services, which, okay, I say self-hosted, but at least we have direct control over those. And it's not somebody else's platform where you click through a user interface only, and you have really low, you have control there. Another really important thing I think is Sphinx, for which we create our docs and training sites. And of course, although we have this PDF signing server for the contributor agreement, we have Discourse, we have Mastodon, and yeah, self-hosted CI/CD. Yes, no. It's an elephant we'll talk about later. And then we use quite a bit of SaaS services and platforms, GitHub, Slack, Discord. We are deeply with sponsoring focusing into Google Workspace. We use 1Password, Linode for the VMs, like I said, so that's still also SaaS. Cloudflare. We have Docker.com, Flickr, Mailgun, MailerLite for sending emails to things, YouTube, Netlify, Zoom, Webplate. That's quite a bit. This was looking out of the airplane window going to Bologna for the Ferrari split this year. So I don't say that the admin team is supporting all this, but we are the fallback. When everything else fails, when we haven't delegated to other teams, when people leave the community and we're managing something, when people step down from the board or whatever, the admin team is the kind of the fallback to at least keep the accounts running and to put out fires. So that's a bit of the situation where I think that's too much for the current team, and it's for our community as a whole. We need to make some. We need to talk about this. So positive part. Let's just focus on what we can do, what we need to improve short term, because we've had quite a bit of, like I said, fires this year, last year already. Where do we go? So we do have quite a bit of planning. We did a lot of talking. Thank you all. I can point out everybody. I have had really good conversations with difficult conversations, trying to explain things, because this is not the easy stuff. This is the senior stuff. That's why I think many people here sitting are senior Plonistas, and I think 1/3 of you has been also in my role. I mean, we have been doing this now for the last 3-4 years, but you have been doing this 6 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So thank you all for that. And we did a lot of talking and planning, but we need to have 3 areas, I think, for short-term action, which I want to present here the next 15 minutes. We're totally dependent on GitHub. GitHub is a beast. GitHub is a dragon. I have a real love-hate relationship with hate in capitals in the later slide. We need to talk about this. For our automation and other things, Google Workspace is something where we have a lot of user management depth, and then we should look at user management in general. Questions so far? So, GitHub. I learned a new English expression 2 days ago from Steve, also financially. GitHub is an in-kind donation, and our community floats on in-kind donations. We have a sponsored OSS plan as Plone organization on GitHub, so we get to do more. We have more features than if you just go if you create an organization account and you get everything for free. But still, that's not enough by far, for the size that we are, or we actually have been for the last few years. And user management, and basically, I think that is Hotel California. You can always check in, but you can never leave. And that has multiple causes. One of them is, we'll talk about it later. So one of the other issues, you cannot contact your members directly anymore because GDPR privacy. So if you add somebody, then you can, and they're in a team, you can quote the team, you can mention an individual user over an issue or a ticket, but generic communication to users or whatever, or have insight in what you're doing, you cannot contact them outside GitHub one-on-one. Or I can add an issue and quote you directly. But that's it. The user management, you cannot top-down easily do that. Well, there is a way, but I'll talk about it later. Like I said, email is approved. And this thing with GitHub is continually evolving. They're like the social coding platform. And for a few people, I have had this already a few times really negatively. Sometimes it's positive, but there's suddenly new features. A simple checkbox has been changed into a drop-down menu and 5 extra options, and there's no changelog at all. Yeah, they promote some new features.
There's a changelog log that is pretty.
Yeah, they do some features now and then in general, but they promote the positive aspect. I've seen a lot of things being added also on control ways.
Sort of changelog that an open source project is.
Yeah, exactly. It's nowhere near our changelog where the nitty-gritty things are also documented. Where you're like, hey, shouldn't we be able to lock this down? And you can search in the changelog and see, yes, somebody changed that module 2 years ago because of la 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 la. No way. So GitHub looks like this for me. And I have no clue what this is. This was on a vacation where we passed a building, and this is kind of art installation going for 30 meters with all kinds of blobby things like this. And so, our big challenge with GitHub is we are an open source. We develop an open source CMS in an open source and completely public way. You have public repositories because we want to showcase Plone. Not only the whole software development process, but also the deployment. That has been going on for years. 2022 we said eat your own dog food. We want to do containerization. Let's show that. Yesterday Erico ran the install and deployment training for the umpteenth time where I supported again. If people cannot install and use your application, then the end result is not there. So we need to publish it. And we want to showcase that. The problem is that every developer with access to a deployment repository becomes an attack vector. Because if they get access to that repository, and from that repository we deploy the application to another server, you need credentials. And those credentials can be stolen. So I'll do a bit more of it. So you cannot turn off code spaces or AI or any new feature that GitHub has been adding over the years, and they all benefit from that. They tone it down sometimes after a while, but I've many times logged into GitHub and suddenly see a pull down with another or a half permanent banner. Okay, like I said, in kind donation, you cannot avoid this. Much bigger problem is that as a freemium, we can only audit what's ever happening on GitHub in a time frame of 6 months. So a simple question like, who has been active doing stuff in our repositories or on GitHub for the last 2 years, so that we can maybe after 2 years or 3 years send a personal note like, hey, you haven't been active for a while. No, you can do. Yeah, you can.
Download a monthly report through an API.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. And so somebody has done some vibe coding during his holiday this summer, and I was really grateful for that. That was Timo, by the way. So and we've used it also for another thing. I'll come back to that time. But this is the simple question, like, yes, there are tools around it, but GitHub does not promote it. So we had this issue with GSOC membership. I'll speed up a little bit. With GSOC over the years, where people come in, but we, like Hotel California, we have no real good user management to get them out again. We collect users instead of cat herding active developers, which we should. So if you would pay for the enterprise version, of course, you get everything on GitHub and everything is fine. And this is the real dragon, I think, which GitHub is that GitHub has all benefits of showing off how great GitHub is publicly by using open source projects for that. And then they sell and earn the money by having this all closed in closed organizations. Members are simply not expected to remove or leave. GitHub should only grow. So, what is actionable? What we're going to do, and I've had many discussions with you over the years, thanks also specifically to Steve, with whom we had multiple one-on-ones explaining things, where I found out and learned the hard way that all my hard-earned knowledge about GitHub is built over the years, and then when somebody new, relatively new comes in, he knows 5 other things, and then together there are actually 15 things we need to consider. So there were 5 unknowns still. So this started with GSOC and with our influx and with this contributor team that we added a few years ago, which was problematic. We're going to separate the contributor agreement check from the organization membership, because that's currently still the technical situation. When, as soon as you're in Plone, we assume you've also signed a contributor agreement. And this is one little tiny feature in GitHub that, when I mentioned it to people later, it was, oh yes, of course, that's also there. You can create a hidden team. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a hidden team. Everybody who signed the contributor agreement is a member of that team. But for us, the team is hidden. If you are there, you don't see, you get no contribution, or it's not public. But this is how we can do this on GitHub. Then we need to do a major user cleanup, because we have like over 700 or 800 developers maybe by now, of which maybe 100 or 200 are maybe still active. And like I said, nowadays on GitHub, any user can be an attack vector. And this is not a joke. I spent multiple days this year, I won't go into details, cleaning up a security incident where a personal access token from an active developer was stolen. He noticed it, fortunately, within 5 or 6 hours. We saw the attacker already targeted the docs and the training and some other things to steal credentials. Because of the horrible auditing, you cannot really see what was done, so we had to swap and exchange all keys. I won't go further in it, but this is not thin air. This has been happening. We had an incident last year where somebody by accident removed 4 repositories because he thought he was doing it on his company a GitHub organization instead of the Plone organization. So we fortunately had to restore some stuff there, and I could mention a few other examples. So, thanks to Timo, we have Plone contributor stats now. I already vibe coded a bit myself. We can just control there, and we should move, I think, all people that haven't been active for the last 4 years in an emeritus team to appreciate their effort, keep that public, and then it's fine. Second is, if we are looking at those teams, we have a kind of double use in GitHub, which calls groups teams and teams groups, or whatever. But we have two uses for those teams now. They are both community teams, but we also you can also use those teams to control who has access to which repository. And this is a completely orthogonal thing, looking from community or looking from access. And this is another hard part we need to talk. We have been this like, you're either in the community with developer status or you're not. And this is where I think we need to have layers there where we say, look, release manager can still do everything. The photo team, classic UI team, and some backend team, but then only for in the group management, and it partially maps on the community development process, have elevated access to part of the development repositories. People working on classic UI should not have access to photo. Photo people should not have access to classic UI or the backend. And all our deployment repositories should be locked down further until we have fixed the deployment security issues there. Like I said, you can communicate more precisely with people if you use discussions there and quote people and quote teams, but then you need to improve your security a little bit. And well, we are already doing this a lot, but we should also clean up and organize our project management there better. So, we'll have an open panel tomorrow. One of the other big security issues that popped up this year, actually 2 months ago, if not, was that we had a similar security incident as we had on the Plone organization in GitHub and the collective. But hey, the collective was free for all. It has been so since the beginning. And somehow we all we know, but we love to forget that the internet is not a safe place anymore. So I was also in the beginning still like, look, there's this functional separation. Collective was just some individual people doing stuff for add-on modules. But after a night's sleep, it was like, okay, but this could blow back really horrible because collective is Plone and Plone is collective, has been for a long time. So we intervened there, and all the things I learned and discussed with you from January to June to July, I could put into practice into 1.5 days because the collective is exactly the same situation there. So we've been practicing there already with some stuff. So like I said, public-private repositories to solve the key stealing issue. I'm not going to make 12:30, but okay. don't push CD, but let an external deployment system pull and deploy from a webhook. That means that no secrets are anymore on GitHub, so it's not interesting anymore. There are tools like Deploy and Coolify. It's a shame because, as we saw yesterday on the training, getting people into CI/CD and explaining things where everything is central on a very popular and totally documented, and everybody, millions are talking about it, GitHub, is way more attractive for us than just locking it away in a secret, hidden configuration managed, or a deployment system like Deploy or Coolify or any other tool for that. This is sometimes my view when I'm working. I'm being looked about. Second one, bit easier. We are totally dependent on Google Workspace, but we have not done much user management there. We need to do a huge cleanup there. And this is also where over the years, what I mentioned with former board members, where part of this was done by board members who were also at the same time admins. Admins have left the board, they're still admin, but we try to keep this functional separation, and this is where we've had a number of issues. And I think, Steve, you could have, with the effort you've been doing this year to clean up all the financial and treasurer stuff, you could stand here and do a talk for 1 hour, but then only on the financial issues, because we have like a lot of similarities there with resources and things. So Steve and me are going to sit together somewhere this week, just so I can compare the account stuff and accesses. He can compare the financial stuff, and we can see if everything matches up again. So Google Workspace, we need to do a huge cleanup there. I found out we have some spam moderation issues of things I was not aware because Plone board admins were doing that, are doing that if they can. But we need to organize this more specifically, because this was, for example, the cause that we have sponsorship requests coming into a sponsoring email address, and nobody was triggered to approve that message because the internet is not a safe place anymore for already 20 years when we look at email, and that was still just hanging around in the spam folder. So a lot of cleanup to do there. I suggest we move to Google Docs because we have been using it already for years. It's the simplest go-to friendly access tool to document all our notes, meetings, agendas, etc. Agendas, I'm not sure, but everything else document-wise. The problem is that drives is one big UX mess. You have your personal drive, you can have organizational drives, and half of our knowledge at the moment is stored on personal drives or in company drives. We can create, and I've already started creating workspace drives for each team, and all of us, we should look in our archives and move everything over there. Because, I mean, you could end up with this. So this was celebrating finally after COVID that there was a sale again in Amsterdam. I was lucky to be on one of those ships, but then you look out and you see this. This is the Vlootschouw on Saturday evening above Amsterdam Central Station. Final idea, what we have, user management. Erica and me have been fantasizing, talking a bit. We need it for company things. We do need to separate this user management thing from being dependent on GitHub. The technical solution would be an identity provider like Keycloak and hook everything onto there. Single sign-on would be nice to have not tied to either GitHub or Google Workspace, which is kind of our holy triangle now, where we do user management. But this is technical level. Organizational, we are a foundation, we are also a community. We need to do our own community user management in some separate system so that we can contact our people and not be dependent on any SaaS platform or one single system. We should have a separate system where we know who's active, where we know who has accomplished stuff. But yeah, keep on dreaming. We first need the people and resources to work on this. And of course, yeah, there's a fourth thing I forgot, Plone websites. I don't have the time, sorry, self-preservation. I have the rest of the presentation I just saw, that's my primary concern right now. I would love to work on this, but when personal time allows, I think I have some time the next few months. But this is something that is no longer, I think, a part of the admin team. I tried a few times. I tried to set up the website team. Apologies for that, because then I lacked the time to actually get the website team booted. Yeah. So, no hard feelings. But this is the state of our community IT, and we're still, as a we're focused on building this software development, of getting the software development at least right for our open source CMS. But yeah, things are cracking around, and I think we should have somebody doing this. And I actually got the inspiration for this talk at the sprint in February. We were invited at the Innsbruck sprint at the Faculty of Computer Science. And Jens and Christina asked, okay, can we do some lightning talks and presentations? So we presented to the people at the faculty. I was like, yeah, Plone is great. Plone community was like, I'll do a black hat presentation. So I just had 20 minutes of, we have 3 real big issues. And that's another issue I presented there was qualification. Like it will be really difficult for us as a community to qualify people if we can put them in spots, if in an admin team, if I can make them an admin or something else. And I recognize that this is the same problem that the whole education sector has at the moment. You have no clue qualifying students if they're capable, and we know all the examples that we had so far. So that's why my inspiration is like, okay, let's look forward, let's be positive, but we should also just press the thumb somewhere. Thank you. So we have like questions we can do. We can also have a kind of open discussion here now for 5 or 10 minutes. But like I said, maybe we should do the meta discussion on where in this conference we have time or how we are going to go further from this. We have these short-term actions. I will champion those. The GitHub stuff, the Google Workspace stuff. I will need some people for that. But then the middle term, the user management, and maybe eating our dog food with Plone.org in an upgraded fashion and other things. That's all up for discussion, and we need to plan this.
Fred, thank you very much Thank you very much for raising the important question. I can feel the same things after joining marketing team for the last 3 months. So it's very important, and obviously it all comes down to lack in resources and people and our time, obviously. And similarly, like we started with ZOP 2, then ZOP 3, then 5, then CMF, archetypes, finally got rid of archetypes at least. Now dexterity and everything. We barely have time and resources to add and improve Plone and our ecosystem, let alone getting rid of things that we don't need or cleaning up, which is like kind of low priority. But this is the result of that. We have huge infrastructure.
Cloud cleanup is saying
we don't just
management cleanup.
Yeah, we just don't have the resources for that.
Yeah.
And with Plone Upgrade, I can feel that because I am blocked even with Plone Providers page. I'm not coding for 10 years anymore. I tried to do something there and I've been stuck adding service provider content type and then asking for help, and it's like months and no progress, and I understand why. And let alone Plone Upgrade. Tomorrow I will have also a discussion, talk on growing Plone, and part of that is Plone.org upgrade from the marketing perspective, not only from technical. Yeah. So we will be blocked by technical things, of course. And so, of course, we need to simplify for sure. We need to simplify for sure. But even to simplify, again, we need people. So my question to you,
this is the elevator feeling that we know we get down to something where we lock ourselves, and then also the meta things cleaning up is getting challenging. And organizing your way out is also getting more and more challenging with lack of resources.
Yeah, and the first step of any cleaning is just removing stuff from your house, right? That's we need to basically get rid of most of the things that don't work or that's are redundant. But the question is, you are deep in the trenches, person knowing the most probably in the admin team. What's your feeling? How many full-time people we need to easily manage everything and kind of be able to clean it up in timely manner?
I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'll give you a spreadsheet. No, so the way that we have been able to do this all together is because we have all these close personal connections, and so most of the IT is organized is how we were running it partly already at Zest, and how we are also running it at Concept. So Erico, me, David, and others, and all people here, and I think 2 or 3 other integrated companies. It's all familiar. We all use the same stuff, so we can keep things running. Talking about how many full-time people could you put on this on cleaning this up? Well, maybe if you would, with 2 people a year long, start doing stuff. Have to have 2 paid staff members for a year. I'm not saying that that would be the option I prefer, because that has all kinds of other implications on community dynamics, etc. But yeah, having two people for a year cleaning up stuff, just doing, and it's not cleaning, it's mainly what I've said for a number of years now, it's the communication and the project management of this, and syncing people, because you cannot move too much forward. I could just say, okay, I'm the benevolent dictator now, I lock myself up and I clean GitHub for 2 or 3 weeks, and you'll be surprised if you're still able to access the repository after that. We cannot do. We're a volunteer organization.
That's good and that's bad at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's a double-edged sword. Yeah. So,
We have a question here.
yeah.
First of all, thank you, Fred, for the fantastic talk. I do feel the same for almost all of the teams, because every team relies on the volunteers that participate.
I'm only picking admin team here as
Yes.
an example to show the general dynamics.
I do see the problems, because I've also been aligned with the team things so on, and we for other projects take the Plone community as the blueprint with a lot of things, so there's a lot of similarities. But what I do see is, maybe some of you remember Eric S. Raymond's The Cathedral and the Bazaar, that in open source communities, the active volunteers are the top notch of all the people, and all the teams rely on them. They tend to burn out and so on because of their own commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And probably we need to change also a bit of the community work, that we do have a volunteer team lead who gives direction what we should do, and ask for the community, for the companies or the universities we have in the community to volunteer some of their participants to work on such a team. Then you have a management that the people don't get too much work, so that they can actually handle the stuff with management and so on, and all the ways to
to very quickly reflect on that, because we have a few minutes left. Sorry to cut you off. This is how we got Plone 7 finally off the ground last year. We had last year we had a meeting in Sprint in Ferrara. We sat down, and with 4 or 5 integrator companies, we said, okay, which sprints are we going to have the next 2 years? What are the main 10 subjects that we need to solve? Who of those, from all the integrator companies that are actively working on Plone, who can vouch for organizing a sprint where we have people spearheading those difficult subjects? And that actually worked, which was amazing. Thank you. That was a really inspiring start in Ferrara last year, the first Salamina sprint. And I think we need to do something similar. But maybe extend it not only to integrator companies where you have the developing people and the smart people for doing the software part, but also in broader community with business savvy people, with organizational people, with people manager people, to also have a kind of discussion there for the next 2 years. How are we going to get up the elevator again, or just turn the whole elevator engine around and say, okay, we will have these meetings at least where we come together, and these people will come there and discuss, and we'll plan a better version of the Plone community in general.
So, yeah.
Because it worked. If we can do it for software development, we can do it for people and community. Like, I mean, it's just programming people. Did I just say that?
So Fred, from me too, thank you for your work, and thank you for your talk here. I'm afraid you don't need some questions, maybe you need some answers, and therefore I'm in a comfortable situation that I can say I'm here with 2 staff members. They are below 30 years and so I will speak with them about your topics and about your issues, and I can say we will help you. And so that's the thing, what you need, I think, for your team, and we will help you. And I'm sure that is the best way that we are still a volunteer organization. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you. 45. One more question, or shall we wrap up?
We have time.
We have time. Okay.
Okay, so just a quick follow-up to Alexander. It's one thing I believe I learned thanks to the Plone community and thanks to the Brazilian Python community is the fact that it's not a matter of getting volunteers, it's getting the right profile in the right position, right? So honestly, I cannot see anyone but you doing what you're doing, the cat herding and so on and so forth, because you you know how to hack human beings, and that's great. And one problem we had in the past in this community, and honestly most communities, but in this community, I remember trying to push Brazilian people to be more, contribute more, to be part of the community and so on and so forth. And I did not pay attention to the profile, the way people were. And okay, I have this amazing technical guy, be part of the framework team, and he was done in 2 weeks because, oh no, I really don't like that. Because it's people and so on and so forth. And that being said, I would like to say, like, you as a team lead, Astrid, and before her, Rico Pekka, it's like, it's the example, the gold example we have. You do not need to be hands-on to lead, but you need to be like a people person to kind of organize. That's one thing. Second thing is, let's volunteer someone from the organization. It sounds like a perfect plan, but unless we are talking about slavery, it does not work, right? We need to get the person committed and interested and so on and so forth. We can show them the door, but we need to find the right profile. And this has been a challenge for the community because we have way too many people that are seen as productive, that are admired in the company, in the community. And what happens is they are everywhere and they do not move their asses from their position because, okay, I'm needed here. And if they do not move their asses, no one feels comfortable to go there as well, and so on and so forth. So we need to be careful. We do not have a problem of resources, human resources. We have a problem of profiles.
And the growth path.
Exactly.
Yes, it's push-pull. You need to have a slot available. You don't need to. In the Dutch we say, many political people are stuck to the plush of the soft cushioning of the chairs they're sitting on. So you need to get them out. But of course, like I said, admin is a prime example, but also other areas. You cannot just say, look, nice that you joined the Plone integrator. You're 22. We need a new marketing team lead. We need to grow that, and
exactly.
I think we've been designing a CMS for 25 years. Designing a community setup where we say, look, we have these kind of profiles. If you want to, you step first here, second level, third level, and then you're good to go also there, and you're comfortable. Then you're comfortable with it, and everybody around here can help you with that because it's again push-pull. If we define those profiles, then I'm sure that half of you can mentor such a person and say, look, if you are going to do the monthly newsletters that we need for our marketing efforts. There are at least 4 people who have been doing that the last 10, 15 years in some way. They can help you. But you need to define some soft profile here where the mentors and the mentees can flock around.
But I think one of the important parts is to bring the people to the conferences to connect with the people.
Yes.
And
We're an online community.
Most of the companies here bring all of their staff.
Yeah.
So that's good, but not the universities, not the other users that could contribute much more.
And now let's put the elephant in the room. Most of the new people coming to Plone are coming from India, right?
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
And our conferences are held in places where Indian people have a hard time to get visas.
Yes.
Let's think about this. Oh,
Second
we should
elephant,
come
I
to
meant
the-
Brazil. Brazil, look at how
Yes.
big Brazil is, what you can do there. But there you also have that Plone is so secure and stable that government loves that. And if you have you have Finns who are maybe a bit difficult in social contact. If any kind of, but that's like adorable and sweet, and Finns are great compared to government employees who don't want to take any risks.
And in general, we have this problem of finding the profile.
I'm sorry,
Growing and-
we're running out of time. We're 5 minutes over the
Yeah.
schedule. Thank you. Can we have applause for